last month. There was no water report. Update on the water meters. We have decided on a few factors before we can move. We have to decide on a few factors before we can move forward with our water project. On the water meter types, town council votes mechanical style, meter base, discrete. This is very similar to what we currently have. This is cheaper for the town, easily fixable for repairs. The read type, the council votes cellular. This will automatically read the meters from an antenna on the tower. No other equipment is needed.
No, there's no antenna on the tower.
No
there's
antenna on
not.
the tower.
No.
Oh, so cellular. Well,
Yes, we
Okay.
voted against the antenna on the tower.
oh, okay. Well, I apologize. I'll fix that. Town council votes Badger, who will be supplying the meters and service. They offer a free app that can tell the town and the owner of leaks if there are any. Badger is a 10-year contract on the cellular service with upfront fees of $10,000 on the software itself. Badger will come out and help the town of Perrysville residents help install the app on their phones and help teach them how to use it. The cost of the meters is a part of the water project for the new tower. Lead service lines, 50 water customers that have galvanized piping, not lead, and in order to receive the SRF financing, the town has to replace the galvanized pipes. If we wait to replace the pipes during the water project, the town also has to replace homeowner site as well. If we replace the pipes ahead of time, the town is only responsible for the town side. Town is purchasing 50 water meters base only at $3,500 to replace those 50 customers' pipes. Doing this will save the town an estimated $250,000. So Jeff motions to purchase the 50 meters from Badger. Tony seconds. Cleanup day is April 26th from 8 a.m. to noon. Jeff motions to have the cleanup on this day. Tony seconds. Police report. Nothing to report. We'll be around 2 to 3 times a week. Took care of an ordinance violation. Wanting to talk to Sheriff Holcamp to get police vehicle at a very low cost to replace the current town police car. Estimated between $1,000 to $2,000. We'll take care of the lights on the cop car if we get the cop car. Current town cop car needs to be looked at. Transmission seems to be slipping. Could possibly sell the current cop car for a couple of $1,000s. Turned in log report 4 times. Ran for January and February of 2025. Public comments. Teresa Miller had introduced Anthony from State Auditor's Office. State Congressman's Office. He can answer any questions you may have about Social Security, Medicare, VA claims, etc. for the aging population. We'll be in Covington Library from 10 a.m. to noon to answer any questions anyone may have on that matter. Meeting was adjourned. And that's it.
Anyone else want to accept?
I'll make a
With the
motion.
amendment, yeah.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
amendment.
Okay, this will automatically read. Okay.
Fixing that. All right, I'll second. All in favor? All right. We have no water report this month. Troy, got a police report for us?
Let's see.
Drove around, looked pretty.
Damn right. That's going to change. I'm going to probably this month go get me a Perrysville Marshal shirt, so that way I can actually be a Perrysville Marshal, wear Perrysville Marshal stuff. Took care of a couple of individuals who were living campers. Got a complaint on. I don't know if I talked to you guys about it. The one was moved immediately, the fifth wheel. The other one there on Prairie Street, I think I'm gonna end up citing the owner because the camper is still there, and I advised her that she needs to move that out of there. The gentleman that doesn't actually live there, he's using it as a residence. He is staying at his girlfriend's. The word is he's staying at his girlfriend's in Annapolis area. Other than that, other than ridiculous title checks, that's pretty much the extent of what's going on here that I'm aware of.
Yeah, if nobody's actually living in the camper, that's
Right.
what we have on it. I mean, as long as they're not living in
Well,
it.
he's using that though.
As a resident.
If he's using that as a residence, then that's more of an, because of who it is, that's more of an issue for you guys.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the stipulations of the town ordinance is that you can't live in a camper, right? If he's using that as a residence reference to his mandatory stuff that he has to do, then technically that is his domicile and he can't live there according to ordinance.
Yeah.
I don't want to cite the owner, but they're not getting the hint.
Yeah.
The light's still there, the camper's still up, and he's still allowing him to use that. So I gotta do something.
What is the citation for that?
That we don't actually have a fine associated to it. It was just basically, we'd remove it if it stays.
Most people
their
reply,
expense.
you go talk to him and it gets taken care of, but this gentleman, he's never there. And you can see the problems with that. He's not following his registry,
Right.
and he's using that address, and me as a town marshal, I don't want that. We, as a community, don't want him to be there the next moment he is there, and then there's issues. If it's truly his address, he can't have that camper. So, we'll get it taken care of.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Do we need to propose a temporary camper permit?
that is something
Like
like,
a 3-month permit that people can
that's something,
apply for?
yeah, that's something we've discussed, and we need to actually work on that, a temporary housing thing, because we do have a couple people that have actually approached me that are gonna be doing some remodeling their house, and they're gonna live in a camper for, like they did.
Like I said, if you,
Yeah.
you guys can, prior arrangements, and it's a temporary.
Yeah,
You just, I mean, as everything we talked about, just to move a camper in and just start living in.
yeah,
out of
it can't be permanent, it's,
Right.
30 days,
Right.
you wanna talk to us, we can extend it, but, you can't live there.
I mean, the hope is to get in here to say,
Did
hey,
not file one.
I'm gonna be staying here,
We don't
visiting
have
my
one right
in-laws for the next month,
Yeah.
type thing.
And that was when we passed the ordinance, that was some of the things we discussed, was somebody was gonna be, we didn't ever think about putting a permitting process in or anything for an extended. Of course, we didn't think that anybody was gonna be spending the winter in a camper as they gutted their entire house.
But they still have a physical address, and that is still a physical address, so.
Well, the others were using the house as address as their physical address,
Right.
so.
We were there 90.
Really, we only have a couple things to go over. The one thing is we have the cruise nights coming up all this year. And it was brought up if the town would like to support that financially in some way. That was your thing, Tony, if you want.
Yeah, Eddie just asked if the town would want to make a donation. He's going to have 6 cruise-ins. I think he has a band every night that he has it set up. So I think it's great for the town.
Did we support it last year?
The town did not. And then everything that he makes from the cruise-in will come back to the Opera House. So, and I think he donated back $9,000 last year, something close to that.
I think this year it's probably gonna be higher than that,
Yeah.
just judging by what I've seen for the amount of sponsors we have. I think the town should financially help support it. Whether it's paying money toward band or porta potty. Just because, I mean, it is, attendance wise, I think it probably surpasses fun days at this point. And, toward the end of last year, we were getting a lot of turnout from the town, which was fantastic. So I'd like to see this continue, so I think we should somehow support it. At what level, I don't know. I think that's what we need to decide.
Yeah. The way he had it set up, he was taking like $250, $500, or $1,000 donations.
Technically a tourist attraction. You're bringing in people from across the border. I'm sure
That's-
from Illinois coming in.
It's a lot of economic development. We had people from Indy last year came in. Yeah, a lot of people from Illinois came in. It really helped.
You can
G-
justify it.
It helped G&D's out. It helped the Handy Mart out. It helped Pizza Place out. You guys got benefit at Tarquini's.
A couple
so-
food trucks.
Yeah, at the end we had food trucks in. Well, I guess Becky was there at the beginning, and then we had food truck at the end. So I mean, there was a lot of economic. I mean, I think RJ said that their food truck made more in 3 hours than they made at the hill climb. When I talked to him at the hill climb, that's what he said. So,
How does the town feel about like the bands? Like noise, have you ever heard anything on that?
I've only had-
One a year, you know what I mean, we maybe don't hear about it, but what about 6 a year?
I've only heard positive so far.
That's good.
Because I mean, you know, we only had one band, but we had DJs every other night. And
That's true.
Yeah.
But people are pretty slow to complain in this town, so.
It's still light out too when you're having it.
Yeah, I mean, we
ended
ended-
start at 8.
yeah, it ends by 9 o'clock. The band usually it's only a 2-hour set for the band, so it's all shut down by 9 o'clock.
I mean, I'm sure if it was like, you know, some type of head banging or something like that, on the crew, maybe not have so many people, but I think the residents kind of like the bands that were here last.
It's just nice to see that it's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we do a mid-level sponsorship, the 500.
Is that for one, or is that for all 6 across the board?
It just goes into the pot.
Just be
So
one
it's
donation.
just one-
It's just
Yeah.
one $500
Yeah.
donation.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm okay with that.
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Well, I'll motion that we donate 500 toward the cruise nights.
it. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sounds good to me.
Second on the minutes.
So with that sponsorship, you get a banner.
I second.
What do you put on your banner? I know it sounds silly, but do you have
Whatever
like a
you
town
want.
logo?
No, we don't. That is something we need.
Then he'll
we-
need it by a certain time, right? Cause I gotta get mine too.
Yes.
Town logo.
Just
Yeah,
you get a personal banner in front of the band.
Yeah, we could use if we could find a graphic artist, it'd be nice to get a town logo. That actually leads me to something else. So we've found out some of the students at the school need volunteer hours. So one of the tasks is painting. So we're looking at getting doing some painting on the Opera House there, and it'd be awesome to put a town mural up, logo, something. So if anybody knows an artist, either a mural painter or somebody that can, graphic artist that could draw something that we could, project up there so we could paint it. Because if we can put it on a through a projector, then we can, outline it and paint it.
You could maybe do something like that through the school, through the art department too.
I already tried the art department.
Well, if Wags was still here.
I was gonna say.
You want free or paid for?
Well, free is always the nicest option. Somebody that's connected to the town would be great. It would just be nice. It would be wonderful if we could do something that would incorporate this being our bicentennial. Something that says 1825 on it and stuff. But so that's just throwing it out there. If anybody knows of anybody, put them in contact with us. And if anybody wants to do any painting, by all means, I'll buy you a brush. Do we have any other business?
I see 3 guys up there. I see, 3 sets of hands?
Now, these hands will be getting used for it, don't worry. Any public comments? Any public?
I don't mean to drag it on, I'm just curious about the 50 pipes. Are those declared pipes, if you know whose homes those are,
We do. When we did that lead service line
right?
for the state, basically anybody that had galvanized or unknown, they kicked it back and said, these got to be replaced if you're going to move forward.
So, to the house, from the meter
Okay.
cannot be galvanized now?
Correct.
Correct.
Originally it could be, and now we've got to change it.
Correct.
Correct.
So when does this have to be done?
Okay, so that's the meeting minutes were a little funky on how
Yeah.
I read it off.
I questioned it, yeah. I didn't understand.
Well,
I take a lot of clarity, you know.
Well,
I can't-
it's a confusing subject. So,
The town is not responsible for the line from the meter into the house, but we are responsible for it in this project.
so
So we would have to pay to replace all of those 50 lines from the meter to the house.
Okay.
it was an estimated cost of $200,000. But
If it's done during the project.
Which is low,
Yeah.
we're guessing.
so if we were instead replace the 50 water meters before the project kicks off, before we finish bidding on the project, we've already replaced those meters, so the project will not touch those meters and thus those supply lines. Then the town does not have to foot the bill for replacing those galvanized lines.
From the meter
Project
to
does
the
or
house.
the house owner?
Nobody, they don't have to be replaced because we're not
Ah,
gonna touch
it's
the
not part
meters
of the
during
At
water
this
project.
at this point, they're not going to
That's
force it.
how you're getting away from.
Right,
yeah.
so we're gonna replace the 50 on our own
Mhm.
and then continue with the rest of the water project, and we don't have to replace those meters because they've been replaced.
So by spending an estimated $5,000 approximately, we're saving 200 plus.
Is my house one of those?
I don't remember.
I have the map, I don't remember. if
We
it's-
can get you the map.
Yeah.
Were they all over the place in town?
Oh,
Or
Did
were
you
they
turn
kinda-
in a lead
were they kinda
service
isolated?
report?
They were all over.
All over.
Yeah, do you know what your line is?
Mine?
Yeah,
Galvanized.
it's
Galvanized.
galvanized.
Then you're on the list.
Then you're on the list, yeah. If you know it's galvanized, you're on the list, yeah.
So you'll be getting a nice new meter before everybody else. Because everybody in town will be
As long
getting.
as you don't turn it on
It'll be a meter base, but
There
it won't
won't be
have
any-
the read on it.
Yeah, we just bought bases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thing.
yet. That was something I wanted to ask about. Another thing I wanted to mention, Memorial Day service on the bridge is happening May 26th at 11 o'clock, just to let everybody know.
Yes.
Back to that though, during the water project, is there a way to offer a discounted price to that homeowner while all the equipment, plumbing, everything's going on during the project? To
Trust me.
replace those galvanized,
Trust me, it would not be discounted at all.
no, okay,
It
alright.
would
It'd
be
be-
higher than what you could pay a
You'd
plumber.
be better off to call Eric in,
Okay, just curious.
yeah.
Yeah, the rates and
We have to pay union wages, and, which they were explaining that to me the other day. It's union wages plus, you gotta have so many men, if it's a 4-man job site, you gotta have 4 men.
Yeah.
And pay them union wages, whether it's 3 guys holding a shovel and 1 guy on a backhoe, you're paying $70, $80 an hour times 4 to dig up that water line.
So mine has to be done, period, right?
your meter
At
base.
some time.
Yeah,
If you
sometime-
want,
You want the water.
Right now, it's your option to have.
it's your water line,
Yeah.
if you want.
Any, okay, so if I don't do it myself now, it's not, because I'm getting that new meter base, I'm not gonna have to touch it.
You
later.
don't have to touch the line.
Okay.
As
That's why we're replacing them before we start the project.
Hypothetically, would the city cover it if she said she wanted it done?
It's always been the homeowner's
Right.
responsibility.
So,
Right.
good, at least
And
So
good for you guys too.
if I'm gonna do it, I can find somebody myself.
Right.
Yes.
And keep in mind, we're not trying to save us money, we're trying to save
Mhm,
Right.
mhm,
all of us money because it's gonna come back on everybody that pays a water bill.
mhm.
No, this galvanized line going into my house, is it gonna have the sludge in it? Is it gonna be beneficial to me, water-wise, to get
This-
rid of that and the possible sludge that's in it?
Rust is more the concern.
Rust is more of the concern with the galvanized pipe, and unless we rip every main line out of town and replace it and loop it, and we're gonna have sediment. I know
I don't have sediment, I have sludge.
you have sludge. I don't know what the sludge would be coming from, to be honest.
Well,
Where are you at in town?
on the other side of their big patch down here.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming that line's been in the ground for lots of years, so it would probably benefit you to change it to.
Now, you guys saw my tin pipe
Yeah.
tin I brought in, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're getting rust from that line, and it's probably sludged up. It's probably a 3/4 inch line, and you're probably only flowing half an inch of.
I'll say water pressure issues too.
Is her line looped?
Yes,
She is.
she's on the
Yes,
main.
Yes,
I'm on the old main, I'm not on the new
Yeah.
main.
yeah, but that's looped through.
But it
there.
goes,
It is.
it goes on across the road? Or does it end at my house at the,
I'd have to
fire
look.
hydrant right there?
I
Because-
I don't think that's a dead end.
No.
Because the newest line is the north side of the street, east and west.
Okay,
So where does my line go?
I'll have to,
From
I'll
my
have to
house.
ask.
We'll have to ask Eric, because
I'll
we
ask
honestly
Eric.
don't know where all the lines are. But we'll ask Eric and Mike.
That's something we've been working on, is trying to
I
track
know,
down.
you guys have been working on it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of,
We have GPS coordinates for.
You do.
I pulled off 88 GPS coordinates one day, and manually entered them in, and we've got another 40 here, I'm gonna guess.
We're trying to get as much fixed as we can, but,
it's a process, I
It is.
understand that.
and it's getting more and more expensive every day. So, and I can only imagine with the tariffs and steel prices are gonna go up, and component prices are gonna go up. So,
I have one last thing, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
With, we have our Mother's Day event coming up. As a town board, like, is there something, like, if I were on a town board, I would want somebody to clear it by me before you have an event with that many people in my town. I'm not trying to, like, hurt myself, but, like, is there a process for myself or Eddie with the car ride or townwide rummage, or, like, is it okay that we all just have events when we feel like it? Is there something we should clear with the town board?
We talked about this last year, and I think last year we kind of decided that so few, and you guys have all come to us anyway, that unless it becomes a problem, I don't see making a.
parking is the only
Right.
issue.
That's a-
And then followed up with any suggestions for us this year that we should be considering that you've noticed or do or hear.
Only ones I ever have heard is more porta potties, but that was addressed
We have
last year.
6 this year,
Oh, 6 this year, so.
and we're gonna keep one for the whole year.
Is it gonna be the
Is-
townwide garage sale day too?
It is, they just put that up.
So we're not
On the-
all the way.
No, and the only times we've gotten complaints about parking, other than when they double rented this building, the only complaints we had were actually ended up stemming from garage sales, not from your events.
Yeah.
So,
I would say as long as the fire department and the police department are aware, or the sheriff's department's aware, just for emergency. Because the town gets, it was gridlocked there for a while.
Can we get some of those volunteers you were talking about for the parking?
uh,
For painters.
There's other volunteers.
you mean the sheriff's reserve?
No, the volunteers from the school.
High
Oh, the
school,
school?
high school.
We don't want high school students parking cars.
They do it at
He's
the
new
bad
this
ones.
year, don't listen.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No, sounds dangerous.
Do you feel like there was a difference last year with having Troy Brandon park cars? Or do you feel like you couldn't even feel a difference? Like, was it worth the effort? We had 2 or 3 guys parking cars at the Legion and that side Mike Bowman lot.
I never noticed a problem last year
I-
at all, so.
We never got a complaint that I
I
read.
don't think it,
Not to our faces.
Yeah.
I mean, I was out and about, and I thought it ran pretty dang smooth. So,
I mean, we always have the county and the town, or, you know, they're on board with giving us barricades. This year, they're gonna put that flashing sign on 32 that at least, I don't know, just looks cool. I don't know what that'll do for anything. And then
It
we're
looks
still trying to do the
professional.
organized parking, but, I mean, we're always up for suggestions, like, tell us anything at any time if you see something. We're gonna try to do vendors a little bit different with unloading, so that's not so,
I mean, that got to be a little bit of a cluster. We did have that issue
for
of
vendors, yeah,
the
I'll
night
get more organized
before.
with that timing.
we just got to make sure that if they're parking trailers and stuff on the road, that we block off the road
Yeah,
because.
we're not gonna do anything the night before this year,
Okay, good.
so there's not that scary thought of somebody blowing through it.
Good.
Yeah, I guess that was the only issue
Oh, yeah.
last
that was
year.
tricky. Okay. Well, if you think of anything, feel free to message us or
Yeah, and Troy, do you
if anybody,
think we could get a? What do you think the odds of getting like a reserve or two up here just to watch things that day?
It shouldn't be that hard. We actually, Sheriff's Office has 3 tier reserves. Like tier 1 is road clear, they can do my job. Tier 2 is allowed to direct traffic, do parades and things like that. Tier 3, you're only allowed to be with another deputy. We're getting ready to have a class to go through. Literally, there's one going on right now, pre-basic, 40-hour pre-basic, new reserves. So this would be great to get these guys their hours in. So I see no problem whatsoever. We just have to have dates and give
May 10th.
like at least 2 weeks, if not a month, previous notice, so I can get it to my reserves, get it to the sheriff, and put that out there. It's probably get a couple guys up here. Maybe depending if it's an all-day affair, maybe like do a day and an evening shift type thing.
Yeah, it's May 10th. If you could just, it'd be all day.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind just seeing. I mean, we just need somebody to drive around in a cop car. I mean, I don't think there's ever really been an issue. A little
There
bit
was
of.
one of the cops stayed out there for most of the day last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was planned or
I
what.
I don't even know that
I
they
think
need
he
to
just did.
drive
I think he
around
just
if they just
was
wanna
there.
hang out and eat some food.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we had somebody walking around in uniform too. Not like I said, not that there's ever been an issue. It's
just feels better.
yeah, to have the presence.
Right. Looking at the schedule here.
And if anyone has a, like a
Like
connection.
beer.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay.
Park the
Oh,
car
next
out
to
there.
the
and-
picnic tables, I know that sounds silly, but like, just like, anybody have advice on that? We need more picnic tables through the road that day, and we steal all of them from the park.
Well, we can
Do
start
you
building
have
some.
to have picnic table? You mean for people to
I
eat
think
at?
maybe it could be like something like this week, Rick. I don't know.
You're Uncle Needy, aren't you?
I don't know. They come to one meeting a year or something.
I have a bunch of plastic folding tables that I use for the RC pulling club.
We don't have any of these. We can set out with like a plastic over them and.
The town doesn't own them.
Right, it's the, yeah.
The tables at the park are just so
The
long.
Legion
They-
had some.
Can't you
donated
rent 'em?
From the.
Right, there has to be
Southwest
somewhere like you can
Department
rent
of
20 picnic
That's
tables
what I
for
was-
a day.
Yeah,
Like that, or even the plastic ones, you know?
yeah.
Like that are the new.
Well, that's what I said. I've got a bunch of the plastic ones.
Yeah, that one, the yellow and blue one.
Yep, they sell them at Costco. You can go get about.
We can
You'd
store
probably be storing them all year.
I didn't think
Where do you
about it,
store
though.
them?
I don't know, if you guys think of something like that.
Did you guys rent this
Big building and.
that day?
Yeah, the parking lot last year, we didn't rent,
We rented it a
We
year
rented
in
it.
advance.
yeah, we had to claim it a year in advance, yeah.
Well, I mean, you technically rented the tables, didn't you?
They won't
If you
let 'em.
rented.
No, they
Building?
can't be removed from the building.
I like the way you're thinking though.
I'm just saying.
Hey, you can buy them like at Costco for like $20 for.
I think they're actually probably down in the lodge somewhere. We got
Like, once you go somewhere and rent them $20 a piece, or go buy them $20 a piece.
Yeah.
If anyone has an epiphany on picnic tables, just let me know.
Okay.
I promise I'll be quiet.
You're good, that's why we're here. We could always go to Newport and take some of theirs from the park or something.
But the first, I promise.
On that note, do we have anything else?
Maybe you could Get the American Legion to rent these to you.
Don't bring it back up.
Okay, I will motion to adjourn the meeting. Any second? All in favor? Aye. Get that camera.
I think that was just nice.
Okay, so